Cliff Richard, born Harry Webb on October 14, 1940, rose to fame in the late 1950s, becoming one of Britain's most beloved pop stars. His story is unique, one that combines passion for music, unwavering discipline, and a deep commitment to his faith. Despite his success, fans were always curious about why the heartthrob never married. At 85, Cliff has opened up about the factors behind his decision, offering a glimpse into the personal side of the man who captured the hearts of millions. The pressures of fame, the promises he made to God, and the lifestyle choices he made throughout his career shaped his life. For Cliff, the fame, the adoration, and the attention from millions could never replace the peace and solitude he found within himself and his faith. The early days, from Harry Webb to Cliff Richard. In the late 1950s, Britain was slowly recovering from the turmoil of the war, and the youth of the nation sought to find joy and hope. Among them was a young boy from Hertfordshire named Harry Webb. As a teenager, Harry transformed into Cliff Richard almost overnight. His powerful voice and charm caught the attention of music producers, and soon he became the face of British pop. His rise to stardom was meteoric, and the world was at his feet. But beneath the glitz and glamour, Cliff remained grounded. At home, he was still the boy who asked his parents for permission to go out, maintaining a strong sense of respect for family and tradition. Despite his fame, he struggled with balancing his public image with the boy he had once been, and this tension influenced much of his journey. Discipline over indulgence. The price of fame. While many artists embraced the chaotic world of fame, Cliff Richard approached his stardom with careful discipline. He understood that the road to long-term success required restraint and self-control. Unlike some of his contemporaries who indulged in the trappings of fame, Cliff adopted a more reserved approach. Every public appearance, every interview, and every gesture was calculated, keeping his private life under wraps. He learned early on that the more he revealed to the public, the less would remain for himself. His commitment to discipline ensured his longevity in an often unforgiving industry. In the face of fame's many temptations, Cliff remained steady, maintaining his faith, focus, and dedication to his music while protecting his privacy. His calculated approach to fame allowed him to endure while remaining true to his values. The sacrifice. What fame couldn't provide. The applause from audiences was intoxicating, but for Cliff, it only reminded him of what he lacked: normalcy, peace, and the quiet intimacy of a life outside the public eye. As his career soared, he built emotional walls, not out of arrogance, but for self-preservation. The boy who once dreamed of sharing love songs now used them as a shield, keeping romance and deeper emotional connections at arm's length. As his records topped the charts and films graced the big screen, Cliff realized that while fame could bring him everything visible to the world, it could never offer him the closeness and private joys he desired. Fame granted him adoration, but it also denied him the quiet, meaningful relationships that most people took for granted. It was a sacrifice that he was willing to make, as it allowed him to stay true to his music and his values. Love that could not be. A brief romance. As Cliff's fame grew, the public's fascination with his love life intensified. Fans, tabloids, and reporters constantly speculated about who might win his heart. Yet the truth behind the closed doors of his life was more complex. Cliff did experience love, but his relationships were always constrained by the demands of his career. His first serious romance was with Delia Wicks, a dancer who had admired him before his fame. Their relationship was short but meaningful, and they even dreamed of a life together outside the spotlight. However, the demands of Cliff's touring schedule and work commitment soon intervened, and they drifted apart. Delia's letter years later, expressing her undying affection, became a reminder for Cliff of the cost of his discipline and the love he had to leave behind in the pursuit of his career. This bittersweet letter marked a pivotal point in Cliff's life, showing both the beauty and cost of his choices. Friendships over romance. A life of boundaries. Throughout his career, Cliff formed lasting friendships, many of which became central to his life. While he always maintained deep emotional connections with those around him, he kept romantic love at a distance, focusing instead on his faith and his work. By his late 20s, his commitment to Christianity became a defining force in his life, reshaping his approach to relationships. Cliff viewed marriage as a sacred promise, something that couldn't coexist with the demands of constant touring and performing. He believed that love could exist outside of marriage, and devotion to others could be just as fulfilling as romantic commitment. This perspective allowed him to cultivate meaningful friendships that sustained him emotionally, even though they were not romantic in nature. For Cliff, companionship was not confined to marriage. It could take many forms, from mentorship to deep friendships. A friendship that endured. The emotional anchor. In the early 1970s, Cliff met a woman who would become one of the most important figures in his life. She understood the unique pressures of his life in the public eye and respected his desire for privacy. What began as professional admiration grew into a deep and enduring friendship that lasted throughout his career. Though the media often speculated about their relationship, the connection between Cliff and his close friend was always platonic. They shared a bond built on trust, shared values, and mutual respect. Together, they navigated the complexities of fame, charity work, and public expectations. Their relationship, which was never romantic, became the emotional anchor that helped Cliff weather the storms of public scrutiny. For him, this friendship proved that emotional connection didn't always need to be romantic to be profound. Faith as foundation, a guiding principle. In 1966, Cliff Richard made a life-changing decision to fully embrace Christianity. He was baptized and made a personal commitment to live according to his faith. For Cliff, faith was not just a public statement or a performance. It became the core of his life. His daily routine included scripture readings, prayer, and service, all of which guided his personal and professional choices. This deep commitment to faith reinforced his belief that marriage was a sacred commitment that could not be taken lightly. Touring, living in transient spaces, and constantly being in the public eye would not provide the stability needed for a meaningful marriage. Through faith, Cliff found peace and clarity, making choices based on his principles rather than societal pressures or the demands of fame. His faith gave him strength and direction, even when the world around him questioned his decisions. Living a life of choice, embracing privacy. No. Cliff Richard's decision to remain unmarried and to keep his personal life private was not a decision he made lightly. Throughout his career, he faced constant speculation about his love life, but he always responded with grace, choosing not to defend his choices. He understood that public curiosity would continue, but he refused to let it define him. He knew that mystery often invites projection, but he also realized that a life well lived cannot be measured by societal expectations. His decision to remain single allowed him the freedom to focus on his music, his faith, and his friendships. While many people may have viewed his life as lonely or incomplete, Cliff found deep fulfillment in his chosen path. He knew that a fulfilling life could be rich in many ways, even without the conventional romantic relationships that others might have expected of him. Building a different kind of family. Though Cliff Richard never married, he was never alone. He surrounded himself with a chosen family, friends, colleagues, and mentors who shared his values and supported him throughout his life. These friendships became his emotional support system, offering him love, loyalty, and understanding. Cliff's relationship with his manager, Bill Lamb, was one such example of a deep, lasting connection that provided stability and companionship. These friendships, built on mutual respect and shared purpose, became the foundation of Cliff's life. He didn't need a traditional family to find fulfillment. Instead, he created a network of people who supported him, celebrated his successes, and stood by him through his challenges. For Cliff, these relationships were a form of family, providing him with all the love and companionship he needed. Loyalty, service, and fulfillment, a life of purpose. Over time, Cliff's friendships became the framework of his life, and he came to see companionship as a divine gift that could take many forms. His life was filled with music, charity, and mentorship, all of which gave him a profound sense of purpose. He found fulfillment in serving others, whether through his music, charitable efforts, or simple acts of kindness. While he did experience moments of loneliness, he did not view them as a punishment or a result of his choices. Instead, he saw them as a natural consequence of the life he had chosen. Cliff's discipline and devotion to his faith gave him the strength to navigate life's challenges with peace and clarity. His success and happiness were not defined by romantic relationships, but by his commitment to his values, friends, and faith. Facing loneliness with peace. The silent companion. Even with a life filled with music, faith, and friendships, there were moments when Cliff Richard felt the pang of loneliness. He acknowledged that the companionship he had longed for was never fully realized in a romantic sense. However, he did not see this as a loss. Rather, he accepted it as a natural result of the choices he had made. The silence that accompanied his solitude became a companion in its own right. It allowed him to reflect on his life with acceptance without regret. Cliff never sought to conform to society's expectations, and he found peace in the life he had chosen. Despite the loneliness that occasionally crept in, he remained content, knowing that his choices had led him to a life filled with purpose, clarity, and fulfillment. A life without regret, living fully on his own terms. At 85, Cliff Richard looks back on his remarkable career with a sense of contentment. He does not view his single status as something to regret, but rather as a choice that allowed him to live on his own terms. He is at peace with the decisions he made, recognizing that his singleness gave him the freedom to focus on his music, his faith, and his friendships. There are no regrets, only the understanding that he lived a life that was true to his values. Cliff's legacy is not defined by what he didn't have, but by what he gave. Through his music, his charity work, and his unwavering commitment to his faith and friends, he demonstrated that a life well lived is measured not by societal standards, but by the love and service one provides to the world. Achievements and legacy, the power of choice. Cliff Richard's legacy is one of resilience, faith, and integrity. His music, spanning 6 decades, has touched the lives of millions. But his influence extends beyond his songs. It lies in the choices he made and the life he led. His discipline and commitment to his values allowed him to navigate the pressures of fame without compromising his integrity. Through his charity work, music, and deep friendships, Cliff left a mark that transcends the conventional idea of success. His story is a testament to the power of choice, showing that true fulfillment can be found in faith, service, and the relationships that truly matter. Enduring principles, a life of grace and purpose. Even as Cliff Richard grows older, his commitment to his principles remains unwavering. He continues to perform and record, sharing the fruits of a life shaped by conviction. Loneliness, though occasionally present, is accepted as part of the balance he chose. Cliff's gratitude for the life he has lived shines through, and he expresses no regret about the path he took. Through his music, faith, and enduring relationships, Cliff has demonstrated that happiness does not need to conform to societal expectations. Instead, fulfillment is found in living authentically, following one's faith, and nurturing meaningful relationships. A life fully lived, the freedom of faith and discipline. Cliff Richard's life is a powerful story of faith, discipline, and purpose. He has shown that love, happiness, and fulfillment come in many forms, not just through romantic relationships. His life is a testament to the idea that living fully requires authenticity, discipline, and a commitment to values. By prioritizing faith, friendship, and service, Cliff has created a legacy that extends far beyond the world of pop music. His story reminds us that a life well lived is not about conforming to expectations, but about staying true to oneself and finding peace in the choices we make. Love, beyond romance. the power of companionship. Cliff Richard's friendships are a shining example of how love does not always need to come in the form of romance. His deep, lasting friendships have provided him with the love, companionship, and support that many seek in romantic relationships. These connections, built on trust, loyalty, and shared values, have given Cliff the emotional fulfillment that marriage might have provided. His story highlights the idea that love can be expressed in many ways and that companionship doesn't need to follow conventional norms to be meaningful. The quiet strength of conviction, living by faith. Cliff Richard's discipline, often misunderstood by others, was not about avoiding connections, but about living with purpose and conviction. His strong sense of faith and his commitment to personal integrity allowed him to resist the pressures of fame and maintain a life of dignity. His example shows that by living authentically and staying true to one's beliefs, we can find peace even in the face of public scrutiny. Cliff's quiet strength is a powerful reminder that the greatest rewards come not from following the crowd, but from staying true to our own values and principles. Legacy of a pop icon, defying expectations. Cliff Richard's journey proves that success and fulfillment do not need to conform to societal expectations. His life has been shaped by his faith, his discipline, and his commitment to the things that truly matter. Through his music, charity work, and meaningful friendships, he has left an indelible mark on the world. His legacy is a reminder that true happiness and purpose are found in living authentically, embracing one's values, and cultivating connections that bring joy and meaning to our lives.